The reported escape of Yemen's southern separatist leader is deepening the wedge between Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, exposing fresh cracks inside the anti-Houthi camp. On January 7th, UAE-backed separatists in Yemen sounded the alarm over missing delegation in Riyadh, turning a planned peace track moment into a political storm. The UAE-backed Southern Transitional Council, or STC, made the claim after its leader failed to appear in Riyadh, raising immediate questions about where he was and why he stayed away. Saudi Arabia had already slammed STC chief Aidarous al-Zubaidi for not attending the Riyadh peace talks, treating his absence as a direct snub to the negotiating process. Soon after, the Saudi-led coalition alleged that Emirati-linked actors helped al-Zubaidi disappear, escalating the dispute from politics into accusations of covert assistance. On January 8th, Saudi-led forces claimed al-Zubaidi fled to Abu Dhabi from Yemen by both air and sea, describing a multi-step escape route rather than a simple trip. Saudi statements alleged that al-Zubaidi first left Yemen by boat and headed toward Somaliland, Somalia's breakaway region, under cover of darkness. Riyadh then claimed he took a flight from Somaliland to Mogadishu, and that the aircraft's subsequent path was later tracked onward to Abu Dhabi. It was also alleged that the plane switched off its identification systems over the Gulf of Oman, before switching them back on shortly before reaching the UAE. Saudi officials further claimed that UAE officers accompanied al-Zubaidi on the flight to Abu Dhabi, implying state-level facilitation rather than an isolated escape. Saudi-led coalition spokesperson says this update follows an earlier statement issued by the coalition's Joint Forces Command on January 7, 2026 about the circumstances surrounding Aidarous al-Zubaidi's escape. He claims reliable intelligence indicates that Aidarous al-Zubaidi, along with others, fled to an unknown location. According to al-Maliki, the group escaped in the dead of night aboard a vessel identified as Baimdhaf, with IMO number 810-1393, departing from the port of Aden, towards Somaliland, a breakaway region in the Federal Republic of Somalia, shortly after midnight on January 7th. Al-Maliki says the vessel switched off its identification systems during the journey. He further claims that during this period Aidarous reached out to an officer nicknamed Abu Sa'id, whom he identifies as Major General Awad Sa'id bin Muzzal al-Ababi, of the UAE Armed Forces. Al-Maliki alleges Aidarous informed this officer that they had arrived. He says an Ilyushin Illinois 76 aircraft, listed as Flight MZB 9102, was waiting, and then took off without declaring a departure destination in its flight information. He states the aircraft landed at Mogadishu Airport at 3:15 p.m., remained on the ground for roughly an hour, and then departed again at 4:17 p.m. According to his account, the flight then headed toward the Arabian Gulf through the Arabian Sea without declaring a destination. He also alleges the aircraft turned off its identification systems over the Gulf of Oman, then switched them back on about 10 minutes before arrival. Al-Maliki says the plane ultimately landed at Al Reef Military Airport in Abu Dhabi at 8:47 p.m. Saudi time. These allegations surfaced after al-Zubaidi failed to show up for negotiations in Riyadh on January 7th, intensifying suspicions of a deliberate walkout. Southern separatists also alleged their delegation was threatened into going to Saudi Arabia for the talks, suggesting coercion and intimidation shaped the negotiation track. The STC, backed by the UAE, is a separatist movement that seeks to restore an independent South Yemen, reviving a political map that existed before unification. In December, STC forces seized Hadramaut and Mara after clashes with government troops, expanding their footprint and alarming Riyadh. Both provinces border Saudi Arabia and cover nearly half of Yemen's territory, making them strategically vital for borders, ports, and trade corridors. Riyadh warned the STC not to advance further, but the group reportedly pushed ahead anyway, signaling it would not accept Saudi red lines. The STC once fought alongside the Saudi-backed government against the Houthis in the north, sharing a common objective despite different end goals. Now, southern infighting threatens to splinter the front that was originally built to confront the Iran-backed Houthis, weakening coordination and battlefield unity. Notably, the Houthis remain the dominant force in North Yemen and still hold the capital Sana'a, meaning fragmentation in the south could hand them a strategic advantage.